Hi guys, this is Karan Shah from Lawman Page 3 Cineblitz, and I have with me Arjun Rampal. His web series The Final Call is coming up, so let's have a chat with him. Arjun, you're making your digital debut. How do you feel, and what made you take up this project?
Well, I mean, first, it's a debut, so you feel like you're going into, waters that you haven't tested, so it is kind of a very, very new feeling of that same level of excitement, same level of nervousness, same level of, oh my God, this better work, of concern. But it also comes with a lot of experience because what I'm doing is actually acting.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same job.
Yeah.
So, if I was directing it or producing it, it would have been very, very different, I guess. That would have really been a debut.
Yeah.
So it's not really like a debut. It's just like about going onto a different format, getting used to that and saying, okay, fine. Okay, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
And adjusting to it. So it was more about making that adjustment, which was... it took a while because you're telling the story over 8 hours as opposed to an hour and a half or two.
So you get a better content and more larger content.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I do hope we've got better content.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole idea. But yes, I think the way it's written, Vijay Lalwani is a fine maker. He'd done Karthik Calling Karthik. I really liked that movie when I'd seen it. And he's got a good sensibility. And then Nishikant Kamat's also there. I've shot a lot with him as well. So they're kind of two directors out there. Very different people, different mind spaces, but also doing very different work. I mean, doing the very different parts of the thing. Vijay is taking care of more of the emotional side of it, more of the spiritual side of it, because that's what The Final Call is about. It's a thriller which has got a very, very strong message of life involved with it. And Nishi's done more of the thrill part of it, which was mostly my part.
Yeah. So, how different is it shooting for a film and for the web?
You're shooting a lot more material in less time. So you constantly, and you have a lot of material. So it is quite a lot more exhausting. I mean, we were doing 4 pages, monologues in a day, one day, and we would finish that, and then we'd say, okay, let's put some more, these cutaways and this and that, and you really got to put it together because you need a lot of material when you're doing 8 hours of footage. Means you're at least shooting 500 hours of footage, and that's going to be chopped and brought into that 8 hours. So it's very exhausting. It is very tiring. You really have to be on top of your game. You really have to come there well prepared. We were shooting in London. It's very expensive, to shoot there. So because you weren't getting a cockpit or a aircraft which you could do, which looked good in India. So actually, we were shooting in the cockpit of what Tom Hanks shot in Sully.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it was quite cool. And so, I mean, to get into that, so I had to go and prepare. And say, okay, fine, how do I take off and land at least, this plane. So went here in Andheri for some flight simulation kind of classes. Got to know what to press, what not to press, how the throttle moves, how you what the rudders are, what do you press to talk to ATC, and all of that. So, you get a lot of knowledge about it. And then to internalize all of that and then go out there and shoot it. So the process is more or less the same, but I would say it's a lot more hard work. It's a lot more commitment which you're making, towards it, because it takes up a lot of your time as well.
You play a suicidal pilot in the movie. What drives him to such a state?
I mean, you got to watch the episodes for that. You really don't know. That is what comes we're going to be releasing the first 4 episodes first. What happens and what has driven this guy is going to be the last 4 episodes. So it would be really unfair for me to say that, you know, what has really driven him. But yes, there are very, very valid reasons as to why he has become the way he is.
Yeah.
And it has got to do with obviously tragedies and the way life has been on him. Sometimes life doesn't give you a break.
Yeah.
And it talks about a mental illness, you know, because our protagonist here is definitely suffering from it. He's suffering from severe depression.
Yeah.
He is very, very, he's living on the edge,
Yeah.
you know. He has horrible nightmares, he can't sleep, he's on serious medication. And there are a lot of people who, being a pilot is such a lonely life, which is what you realize.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of scared of flying now. But it is a very lonely life. You don't know what's going on in their heads. I mean, recently I read somewhere that one guy who took down a Malaysian aircraft, you know, and then when they discovered that the guy was in serious depression, you know, and the pilot took the whole plane down. And that's very similar to our story somewhere, you know. But there's a lot more to it. There are lots of other stories involved with it. There are a lot of tracks that are running parallelly to this, to our protagonist tracks. Okay, because once you're up in the air and you're in the hands of just one man, each one kind of feels that this is the end, and that's the final call for each person.
True.
So what they go through, what their backstories are, you know, what their karma is, you know, and you have that whole karma bit also coming into the thing, which is, if you've read the book, you would know it's very similar to that.
Okay. You know, you shot at Kashmir, Lakshadweep, and several other places.
I didn't shoot in Lakshadweep. I only shot in Kashmir and in London.
Yeah. So
and in Chandigarh and in Delhi and in Mumbai.
How was it shooting at all these locations, and did you have any chance to talk with the locals?
In Kashmir?
Yeah.
Yes, it was my first time there, and it's really Jannat. You know, so and I took off to Gulmarg, and I spent 2 days there, and it was snowing, and it was full snow, and it was really, really beautiful. And people there are beautiful, lovely, warm.
Coming to the character, it's a very obviously you get into the depressing zone as well. While playing it, do you get into that zone, and how do you unwind from such characters?
It's a good question. You know, sometimes without realizing you're deep into it, and then you kind of see that your behavioral patterns have changed.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to say, okay, listen, stop.
Yeah.
You know, and keep yourself in check and control yourself. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's like a switch, you know, it goes on and off. Sometimes you forget to put off that switch.
Yeah.
And you have to just learn to put it back off.
What's next for you after this?
So there's lots, I mean, on my plate right now. I have to just kind of go through it and see which is it that I really want to do. There's a really nice horror film. Okay, there's a very good thriller, there's a very good adventure film, there is a very good action film. There's so these are from the films. Then there are 2-3 things which I'd like to produce for the web. Okay, and that would be from our production side. So those are kind of almost materialized now. So as soon as that happens, then we can talk about it.
Cool, that's interesting. Thank you so much for talking about it.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure, Karan. God bless. Good luck. I'm Arjun Rampal, you're watching me on Cineblitz, and if you like this video, you can like, share or subscribe. So it's down there, go do it.